100%. Like when I'm looking at you now, okay, I can see that you got a high IQ. Your brain processes a lot. So
Yo, I don't know. My teachers in school wouldn't say that. Just the radio. Another episode. Another. I want to say this one's going to be a journey because this one, that's basically what we want to discuss, and we want to delve into what got you started in, your particular career path. So, Jason, thank you so much for coming on.
thank you so much for having me.
Of
Awesome
course.
to be here.
Thank you for coming out. You took time out of your busy day, so I really appreciate that. Do you want to give me maybe in like one sentence who you are?
So I am. It's an interesting thing to answer in one sentence. I was born into a spiritual family. I'm sensitive as a human being, and I was lucky enough to turn that into a career. I come from a long line of people that do what I do.
Yeah.
So like when I go to the UK and I work there, they call me a skeptical psychic because I'm skeptical of my own industry, but I don't think that's the right word. People call me a medium. I do connect, but I also don't think that's the right word. I prefer intuitive, and it helps me. It's a broader spectrum. So like I take that into business as well. So I don't just do one-on-one. I help business and companies and things like that, all energy-based stuff. So I guess, in one sentence, I'm energy sensitive. I see it, I work with it, and I'm able to help people with that.
Okay. And you say energy sensitive. What, is that reading energies? Is that helping people, get their energies aligned almost? Or what exactly, do you do? You say these people overseas that call you in to help them.
Yes.
So what exactly would you do for them?
So I've got a really good way of answering that. When I came out the womb, I wasn't looking at people in the eye. I was sort of looking around them, and everyone thought I was cooked. And so when I was investigated metaphysically, they realized I was looking at auras and chakras. And the way that I explain that to people is, we've all had something emotional happen in life, and you cry and you get a lump in your throat. Medical science can't explain that lump in your throat, but you can feel it. It's your emotional energy center, or heartache. It's real. We've all had that. And that's your heart center. My favorite one is butterflies in the stomach. If you had an x-ray on your stomach, they wouldn't see anything, but you can feel it. Now that stuff helps me to understand what somebody's going through, what they've been through, and it helps me to help them move forward. And obviously I've learned how to clear it over the years as well.
So you say you're skeptical almost about your industry almost. So what are you, a particular religion, a particular faith? What do you believe in?
So I was brought up Christianly. I've got a massive God belief. Another thing I always say, if people could live in my brain for 5 minutes, they would believe in God very quickly, because you see that there's positive and negative energy. So I'm skeptical though, because a lot of people come and see me that have seen other people, and I hear the same stories. And I was born like this. I never learnt it, I was lucky to have the mom that I did, and the gran that I did, and her mom. And they kind of taught me a lot of family secrets, if you will. But I was the first boy in my bloodline. So my mom she was psychic over here, but I saw things. So it was an interesting journey. I was one of those kids where I had an invisible friend, and my mom thought it was cute, until she realized it was real. So that's how it started.
And explain what you mean by your mom being psychic up here.
So my mom was a practicing spiritual person. So she sat with people like me and you sitting and helped them, but psychically, not clairvoyantly. Clairvoyantly is when you see spirit and energy and things like that. My mom couldn't do that. So I was the oddball in the family.
Okay. So you see people's energy, and do you basically, when people call you in, do you help them with the energies, and you help them, maybe, how do you help people?
So if you had to sit with me now,
yeah,
I would be able to tell you that your life lesson is love, life and loss. Your base chakra has got energy there, which is your day-to-day physical stuff. So that's how I know you're supposed to work for yourself, make your own money. You can't listen to people. So if any of those things are out of alignment, I'm able to help them to get back in alignment with that. As I grew, I started connecting with spirit. So for instance, I'd sit with somebody, and then Dad would come through and say, how's it? And watch out for this and this person, and stay away from this, and this business is not working because of this person. That kind of thing. So it's sort of multi-dimensionalizes as I'm growing with my career.
And you think it's definitely stigmatized, the whole career that you're in?
Well,
like palm reading and like, is that something that, Hollywood has maybe kind of, made a joke of, is making it look like it's, almost it's false and it's kind of just, to use people and steal people's money?
So it's definitely stigmatized. So like I've had that my whole life actually. Where people don't have a belief in it. That's how come I'm skeptical, because there are a lot of red flags out there. Just out of interest's sake, I'm sure you've heard the name Ryan Seacrest. There was a guy that I'm working with now that's doing production work for him, and they wanted me to go on there. And there was a guy called Hollywood Medium. He's Tyler. He's still doing that, and they were interested in me going on there, and they liked the skeptical approach that I have. So, to answer you, yes, there's a stigma attached to it, but I'm trying to spread the light, and I think I have the career that I do have today because of that. So yeah, it's been an interesting one.
What is your skeptical approach?
My skeptical approach is, so I can tell you, for instance, if I do 10 readings a day, which is what I normally do, 5 of those people are new and they've been to see somebody else. I can tell you each one of them have got a red Indian guard. They hear the same story every day. And they say things to them like, oh, the psychic said I'm going to travel. Everyone's going to travel. It doesn't take a psychic to figure that out, So I hear the same things, and every person's had a miscarriage, and respectfully, I hear the same stories over. So I like it when it's detailed. I believe the more white light there is out there, the better. So if somebody goes to see somebody and they have a beautiful experience, that's awesome. I love that. But it's not always like that.
Yeah.
You should walk out there, feeling fantastic and energized and challenged to tackle the world. Not like, God, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be okay?
Yes. And would you say it's almost it's a similar to going to a psychologist?
Yes. So I'm very much a spiritual coach. So the lady that books me in London calls me a maximizer. So it's kind of, I've just built an app now that's actually launching next week. It's called Smash Life, so check it out, guys. And it's designed to coach people spiritually, like psychological for sure. But how many times have you been walking around during the day and you go, you know what, I'm just not feeling good today. I'm off center. I'm angry. So you could contact me and say, Jay, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. And I'd be able to say to you, well, the Schumann resonance, which is the Earth's heartbeat, is like this. And there's a retrograded cycle. And, the moon is like this. The moon, think about this logically, it controls the tides in the ocean. My daughter, who's 21 now, when it's a full moon, she stays in her bedroom and I stay in mine. There's an interesting science there. But it controls how we feel. So I like to teach people that stuff and help them to work with it. Because it affects us day to day. So it's psychological, but as well as energetic as well.
So how do you see, like when you see auras, how do you explain what you see exactly? Like what do you see? Is it around the person? Is it something, like what do you see?
So a lot of people want to practice to see it. And the best way to explain it is if you look at a candle at night with all the lights off. But you look into the candle and you're kind of looking here. So if I'm looking at your eyes, I can see this energy here. That's how you start seeing it. And then the more you focus on it, the more you start seeing colors, you start feeling it. When you walk into a room and you look at somebody and you go, shame, what's going on with them? You can just feel it. Or sometimes you meet someone, you just don't like their vibe. It's the same thing with auras. So if I concentrate on you now, I can feel what's happening in your body medically and energetically. It's the same thing. So I see it, but then I see to feel almost, if that makes sense.
I hope you're seeing good things going on in my side of me. I got nothing bad going to happen soon.
Well, look, actually, no, I'm just joking.
So, but this isn't your only profession. You've got other businesses.
So I have got other businesses, but they're all in corporate. So I've got big clients that I service monthly. I've got really big businesses that I coach, train, from owners all the way down. So my biggest contract with business now, they've got 1,500 staff members, and I work in different ways. That's why I had to develop my app, but it was just too big logistically to manage all of them. So yeah, I do that, and I've got a few other things that I play with as well, you know.
How's this app going to work?
So people are going to go on there, they're going to have direct access to me, so every day there's going to be meditations, training, what's happening on the planet, what to work with, what mantras to work with, stuff like that. There's a big, I realized that, you know, for instance, you come and see me for a session, and I give you a reading, and it's challenged your mind, and you're excited about your life path, and now you've kind of got an idea, but then you go out into the big world and you're going, okay, so now what? You know, and that's what I've tried to facilitate. I have a very interesting message about that when I was about 6 years old, and I actually wanted to talk to everybody about this today. I wanted to go live in India, and my mom was freaking out. You know, this little 6-year-old, and I was doing these yoga poses, and I couldn't even touch my toes today, by the way. But she said to me, "Why do you want to go live in India?" I said, "Because I want enlightenment." And my mom was like, "What?" And I've had this female energy with me my whole life. And she said, "Jay, that's not your life path this lifetime. You're here to help people. You'll be a healer. And the word will go from one-on-one to many." And I never knew what that meant as a little man.
Yeah.
Now I can see it. So I want to be able to help everybody, not just one-on-one.
Yeah.
And this is a platform to do that, because everyone's battling with something, man. People don't come and see me generally because they're happy.
Yeah, of course.
They come see me because there's something happening in their life. And I wanted to figure out a way to help everybody. And the stuff on my app, you're not going to be able to find it on the internet or in any book. It's my family stuff that I feel like the world needs to see now. It's time.
Yeah. How would you... I'm sure you get a lot of people that maybe even book with you to almost prove you wrong or disprove you. How do you go about dealing with that kind of thing?
So those are my favorite. I love those. So I have it very often where someone comes to sit with me and they go, "I don't know why I'm here. My wife made this appointment for me. I don't believe in this stuff." So secretly inside my mind, I'm going like this. And I tell them some stuff, and I get really strong involved. Those readings, I go strong. I kind of know when to go gentle or strong.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they're on their phone like, "What did you tell him about me?" You know, "I know you told him. How does he know this stuff?" And I enjoy that because it kind of opens up their mind, and they see, hang on, there is something else out here. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. You know, he's accessing something else here.
Yeah.
So that's how I tackle that, you know, and I must be honest with you, I've had it my whole life. So when I was a little man, that's why I became super religious. For some strange reason, people think I don't believe in God. That's absurd. I was this amazing little psychic kid as a child, or the devil's child, you can imagine. And so I became very religious because I thought I was going to hell. And then I realized, okay, it's not that way. God does love me, and I love God, and it's all good.
You say you meditate, and so you're a big advocate, like a book of the 5 a.m. Club. So what do you do, your perspective and your input for the people watching on, you know, meditation and how to go about it?
I meditate 3 hours a day. I'm not saying everybody must do that. I'm the 4 a.m. club.
Okay.
So I have to be able to get everything done. It's very simple, man. If you're driving, everyone's been driving your car and you're on the highway and you're in La La Land and you miss your turn off and you have to come back and take the turn off again. That's called transcendental. So I was very lucky to work with amazing people and around the world, and some of them you know I'm sure of, and they all do transcendental meditation for 4 minutes twice a day. And you come out of that and you think it's been 8 hours, but it lowers your blood pressure, keeps you focused, it relaxes you, it gets your body functioning properly. It's unbelievable. That's transcendental. Guided meditation, which everybody should start trying to do, is when you close your eyes and someone paints a picture for you and you go on a bit of a journey. That teaches your mind how to focus, actually, you know. Breath work. If everybody did that, everybody would live longer. It's simple. If you take a yogi, look, we all can't sit like this in the mountains.
Yeah.
I would love to. That would be my perfect life. But if we did, everybody would live for a very long time. So it's important, I think, to find a balance meditational with physical life. I'm a massive advocate for meditation. I've been doing it my whole life, and it's how I stay sane, focused, and dedicated. If I don't, I'm off center. Eh?
Yeah.
So,
For those people that maybe are claim to be too busy to meditate, what do you say is the easiest way to get in, a little bit of meditation?
very clever person told me, I was training with him, personal training with him for a long time. He said, everybody has got an excuse not to exercise, but they need to make it a priority first, and everything else must come second.
Yeah.
People need to find the time to do that. I think that exercise, nutrition, and meditation are equally as important. I don't think it's an excuse. I think they must do it, because if you meditate, I promise you, your work, your cognitive functionality, your energy expenditure will be massive. And I know with me, the reason I have to meditate is my mind needs to be focused so that I can be 100% powerful for my people. I've got to be in integrity with them. If I'm off center, there's Mal, I don't work that day. I can't work that day because I can't give my people all of me. So when I meditate properly, it fixes everything. So to everybody listening, meditate. Make the plan to meditate and do it.
And what is the best, to be in like a quiet room by yourself without any, social media, phones put away, or how would you?
So definitely all of those if you can. YouTube is an amazing platform. Guided meditation is a great way to start. Look, that's why I created my app. A lot of people, I did a live Instagram meditation, and we had a really big response. So people are hungry for it. But the meditation was full of novices and experienced people. So I talked them through, and I said, do this. This is what your mind's going to do. Because people have got the weird understanding that when you meditate, you must clear your mind. It's impossible. You can't. But you can train it, and you can sort of concentrate on that and work with it. So start with guided meditation. Let somebody talk you through the process in a quiet space. Give yourself 10 or 15 minutes to do that. Love yourself enough to do that. Do it for a while and see how it impacts your life. That's my suggestion.
And you obviously, I'm sure you've read books on meditation. And is there any books that you'd suggest people, maybe read, or YouTube videos to watch?
So I tell everybody, go on YouTube, put guided meditation on. There's thousands on there. And they're really good, some of them. I've got a YouTube channel. It's brand new though, so don't use it when you go on there. But YouTube's a great platform. There's lots of meditational books and stuff to read. But I think the secret to all of this is being centered. It's learning to take time out of your day and to relax. And I think we lost that somewhere along the line. Like I know myself, I'm quite a driven human being. I look after my family. I'm lucky enough to have my girls with me. So I'm like, go all the time. I've got all my readings through the day, and I've still got to do other business stuff, and I've still got to train, and I've still got to provide for them. I think if I didn't meditate, I'd go mad, to be honest with you. So go on YouTube to start. Smash Life is going to have a new meditation every single day. And I'm going to actually teach people how to meditate. That's why I'm doing it.
Okay. And you say you meditate 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
When is this guided, or how do you meditate?
So I'm in a different kind of level now. So I go really deep within myself. I kind of investigate my body, and I've learned to figure out what's going on and what's wrong, what I need to fix. So that's part of what I do. I've got specific guided meditations. So I go into places where my mom's in spirit, and I go into a space where she communicates with me, and she gives me specific messages about people, and then they phone me. It's quite amazing.
Yeah.
So I do a bit of that, and then I do stuff with regards to my career, where I'm going. So I focus on that, and I look at what I need to do, and I channel energy towards that. That's what I do personally. I do breathing techniques before meditation. I think everybody alive should do that. There's an interesting guy called Wim Hof. They call him the Iceman. He's the guy that sits in the polar ice caps with his speedo on, and he doesn't get cold. I don't know if you've seen that guy. But I'm actually going to be doing work with him soon. And he does breath work where he's doing it to see how long he can hold his breath for. And I was practicing with him because I'm doing free diving, so I've got to get my breath long. And he's energizing all these chakras and he doesn't even realize it. So if you had to do breath work, do the Wim Hof breathing technique. It's on YouTube as well. Try that. Like you for your training as well. Oh man, it'll take you to a whole new level. Body's filled with oxygen and energy. Concentrating really hard, you'll meditate better. So I do breath work and all those different techniques, and then I kind of just keep still as I can. It's so hard, man. If you just try lie and just try keep still and try and keep your your mind centered, I think that 90% of people today can't do that. So it's important to try.
Yeah. Would you say it's more difficult to almost stay centered and, actually realize your purpose and what drives you and everything because of social media now? Because obviously you grew up when there wasn't really as much social media. How have you seen a change in your own personal life? Is there more things that obviously maybe put you more off center because of social media?
100%. So I see it with my children. So my oldest daughter carries my ability. It's a bloodline thing. My youngest daughter, when she dreams, I take notice of it because there's messages there. But I've noticed that the more social media vibration, they're kind of losing that centeredness. Both my girls were little Buddhas when they were younger, and they're certainly not like that now. And they are very, very social media linked. I think it's the way that just life is. So I can see it. Even myself, a lot of that's actually why I built an app, because I get 200-300 messages a day. Jay, I'm battling with this, can you help me? And it's a good platform actually to kind of link the world, but it does take that spiritual essence away. So if you were lucky enough to go and sit in the mountain and live there with no connection to the world, and you were honest with yourself how you felt, I think there's a big difference there,
Yeah. And are you one of the people that maybe limit your social media, maybe in terms of, replying to messages and clients and stuff, different story, but in terms of just scrolling on social media and, getting so much stimulus from the world that actually could be negative? Do you limit the amount that you spend on?
So yes, I do. I battle to sleep, so I have to, but I also choose what I look at, I kind of like the availability to information personally. So I look at there's beautiful people that I follow that inspire me, that drive me. So I look at those kinds of things, but I do put a limit on it personally.
Yeah. I think it is something that people need to do. Have you watched the documentary Social Dilemma?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about it, and in fact, it came up on my Netflix. So
yeah. I saw it come up, and then I was like, nah, maybe not, because it's ignorance is bliss. You kind of don't want to realize that there can be a lot of negatives towards it, even though there are a lot of positives. It's difficult to weigh out, the positives and the negatives to see exactly, because I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they said that suicide rates have gone up by 50% in teenage girls mainly. And obviously, predominantly, suicide is actually, the biggest numbers is in middle-aged men. Females don't actually commit suicide as much as males.
Wow.
But obviously, it's gone up. But I think, don't quote me on this, but it was something like from two girls in every 1,000 commit suicide. It's gone up to 4. So it's gone up by 50%, and that was largely due to social media. Because if you go home and you are, let's say you got bullying at school, before social media, you can go home and withdraw yourself from the bullying. Now you go home, you check your phone, you see friends commenting, being ugly online, and that can have negative social, effects to people. And have you helped people who may be dealing with suicidal tendencies and, help them maybe, realign their life to become, more positive and get back on the right path?
Massively. It's a huge part of my career. It's a sad thing to talk about, unfortunately, but it's true.
Yeah.
A lot of my messages are about that. So it's interesting you say that, because I'm actually dealing with a lot of that right now. I just want to say something as well with regards to the energy. I think I think the way the world is at the moment, it's been tough out there. I think people are dealing with a lot of things. I do think people are vomiting energy onto other people as well. It's very sad and selfish, but it does happen. I think that adds to that, and you're quite right. Now people are carrying on this process. But yeah, I do. I would say, unfortunately, it's probably 10% of my career, you know. A lot of people come and see me and they'll say, I've got these suicidal thoughts and I don't know why. I've got my own theory on that. It's quite a tough thing to talk about, but I'd like the world to hear this. So, you know, you don't wake up in the morning and go, today's a great day to commit suicide. Woohoo! Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. Your mind actually assassinates you, and it's very sad. We're here to live, you know. We're here to live life and to live the best of our life. That's what our Creator wanted us to do. And then this negative energy is filtering into our lives massively. And social media, unfortunately, is a huge driving force behind it. But there are positives. What you're doing is positive. You're putting out positive messages to the world. I think it's a balance. But I'm a firm believer. You know, I was brought up Christianly, so you got God, devil, whatever religion you are, there's positive and negative, yin, yang, ra, set. That negative energy is designed to get you off center. That's what people don't realize. And my biggest teaching to people is don't listen to your mind. You know, like, I didn't want to wake up at 4 o'clock this morning, but I did. I didn't want to meditate as long as I did, but I did. I got a new trainer and he's pushing me hard. I didn't want to, but I did. And you know, people have got this understanding of me that I'm this big positive ball of light, and I am, but I live in my mind and I push myself all the time. And it's important to not listen to that. Don't listen to your haters. Carry on living your own life and doing your own thing. So I just hope people start realizing as well the damage that they're doing, you know. It's quite sad. It's sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I actually read a quote this morning. It was Robin Williams. He said it was something, I'm going to paraphrase quite a bit. It was something like, when I wake up, I would cycle until I'm exhausted. Then I would go and perform until I'm exhausted. And I would put everything I could into what I did. And I think for him, it was, did commit suicide. Yeah. So for him, I think it was so much, he was suffering so much that he tried to put in everything into what he was doing. And I think that definitely benefited him because it gave him purpose and it gave him something to work towards. Obviously, unfortunately, it ended the way it ended. But I think if you have something that you work towards, if you have something that, you know, drives you and sustains you and keeps you motivated, I think it kind of realigns you. And that's also something I'm sure that you help people with, is finding something that they are passionate about and, you know, working towards that.
Yes, and I think you're the same too, and that's why I'm enjoying being here today. I can give you a rundown of my space. I've made my body my focus. I've made my health my focus. I've got bonsai trees at home. My kids tease me and say I'm getting too old too quickly, but it keeps my mind focused. I work with a bit of poetry, music. I try and keep my mind busy with business, stuff that I'm enjoying. A lot of people say, but I'm happy, I don't know what to do. And the idea is to try and investigate.
Yeah.
I always tell everybody, go into the bookshop, look around, go to the esoteric section, choose one. I don't care if you're a big reader or not. Take it home with you and read a few pages every day. Try and meditate, keep your mind working on stuff, you know. You know, if you're going through a breakup and you sit there all day thinking about it, it's going to drive you crazy. Go and visit a friend, go watch a movie, do stuff, keep your mind going. So I agree with you. I think it's important to focus on something that you're passionate about. Find something that you like. If you're not sure, try things. Give it a bash.
Yeah. Don't let your daughters tell you're getting old too soon. Because, I mean, bonsai trees, you know, like in Karate Kid, that, what is his name? The master?
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi. He was like the main leader, mentorship of, you know, most people's time when they watched that movie. And I mean, he had bonsai trees, and that's something that I think is actually, it's an incredible plant, and it's amazing to be able to sculpt it and, you know, create something. And it's something that takes a lot of attention, and it takes a lot of your attention. And how do you feel about things like, just off topic, but, you know, connecting with plants, connecting with, like, there's people that, you know, sing to their plants to get them to grow better, and, you know, your energy and your plants can read how you feel. And
So, yeah, no, it's not off topic actually. It's
I guess it's not. Yeah.
It's actually perfectly connected, elemental energy. So my dad said to me, Jay, you're going to kill your plants with kindness, because I was out spraying them and giving them energy, and they're actually doing really, really well. But it's quite strange. You build a relationship, and one thing it's taught me massively is patience, and it's a Buddhic thing. So when you study to become a monk, you plant a tree, you plant the seed, and that tree grows, and most people get frustrated. They just want this thing to get big now. And it teaches you about life, actually. You can't, you got to nurture it, you got to look after it, you got to cuddle it, maybe talk to it a bit.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to. And for me, it centers me a lot. You know, I have one project at the moment. It's a bougainvillea stump, and it's taken me about a year to get some stuff going. It's taught me lots of patience, but I'm enjoying it now a lot.
I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about this book. I can't remember the name, and actually I want to go research it and find it and read it. So it's basically saying it's the story, and he says when you read it, you have to be outside in nature. So then he says, you're reading the book, it's people, it's everyday people, it's this whole interaction and, you know, an actual story. Then at the end of the book, you realize it's actually trees, and it's actually plants, and it's actually, you know, the lives of the trees, and it's all of that. And I think we do connect very well with nature. And I mean, if you see outside how many trees we've got, just lying in bed in the morning and listening to the birds, listening to even the wind blowing the leaves, it's very therapeutic.
Well, I would like to tell you an interesting story about my bloodline. So I've got Druidic heritage. That's where my bloodline comes from. And my genetic line is very long down. I've actually got a Wolverson Bible at home. It's quite fascinating. But the Druidic energy, they believed all the secrets to the universe were in the trees. So the oak tree for them was very sacred. And they farmed 100% according to the moon cycles. So, like, not many people know this, but a woman's cycle goes 100% in accordance with the moon. You know, the tides in the ocean. So if you farm according to that, and you've got a relationship naturistically, it makes sense. Everything is connected. So the more in harmony you are with it, the better.
Yeah. For you, what do you find for your own life and in your own life that you experience put you off center the most, you personally?
So I have a joke with my friends and family that the devil chased my heels a lot, you know, and social energy, negativity, you know, I feel like substance is a big problem in the whole world. You know, I grew up in nightclubs as a young guy, so it kept me far away from my spirituality. So influence, substance, negative energy, people. I've grown, and I mean this respectfully to everybody watching this, I've grown into a bit of a selfish human being in a way because of that. So I'm very cautious who I share space with, who I allow into my life, who I work with. Number one, I don't try and put negative things into my body, and I try and live according integrity. I like to be in integrity with myself.
Yeah.
It's hard to live like that, because integrity is what you're thinking is what you're saying, and what you're saying is what you're doing. That's integrity in a nutshell. And if you don't like somebody and you're out socially, you can't just go up to them and say, listen, I don't like you.
Of course.
So I kind of learned to work with that in my own way. Everybody knows. They're just not honest about it. But everybody knows who and what is bad for them. They just need to keep that out of their lives. That's what I try and do for me.
You say that you try not put negative things into your body. I've been doing a lot of research in like DMT and LSD and stuff. Are you someone that thinks that could be something like, because obviously I've heard a lot of stories of people like having spiritual journeys, you know, taking these type of drugs. Is it something that you have done any research in? Or?
So a lot, very, very much. And it's a story I think I'd like people to hear. My father lives with me, and he kind of runs a lot of things for me because I'm a busy human being, and he drives my kids around sometimes and does some shopping. And he sat me down and said, Jay, this is hard for me to talk about. He's 64 years old. He said, I'm starting to forget stuff. And I appreciated him telling me that, but I know some pretty powerful people that do that, and they're internationally acclaimed. And one's a chemical engineer, and he put some stuff together for me, microdosing for my father.
Yeah.
Problem is, my dad thinks he's a teenager again. So he's loving life, and so I'm
So
a
it
big
worked too well.
It worked too well. And I also know people. You know, you face your demons there, and you learn a lot about yourself. So I believe that if it helps, absolutely, because there's some stuff in there that feeds your brain. So I personally can't do that because I live my life like that. So if you could see what's in here, everyone would think I'm mad. So I can't, but I do believe in it. I do believe that if you use it for the right reasons, yes, not just because you want to go have a jaw.
Yeah, of course.
If you're doing it for spiritual development, I mean, powerful people go and do that, you know.
Yeah. You say that you were raised as a Christian and everything. What religion do you think, is closest to alignment?
So I've done all of them on purpose because I need to know them. In fact, I don't think there's a religious book that's been created that I can't quote. So I think they all have a common denominator. So I say openly, I don't believe in religion, I believe in religiousness. I love God. I've got a very big God connection. But there was an interesting process I went through, satsang. So I was vegan for 3 years. And satsang, you can't have any meat, no meat, nothing like that, nothing that's living. And I love animals and nature, so that makes sense to my connectivity. You can't have any alcohol for a year, you can't do anything like that. So I did that, and I was lucky enough to meet this guru, they call him, and the way he spoke made sense to me. The satsangis believe that they've got a direct connection with God, and they get there through meditation. And they talk about like when you pass on, you get really close with God, and it's just a very beautiful process. So I love that process, but it's very tough because you have to meditate a lot. So I like that process. But also, if I had to take you with me to Thailand and you come sit with me in one of the temples, I kind of know those things run, okay? I promise you would love it. It doesn't mean you must become a Buddhist. People have got it completely wrong. Buddha was a really cool dude, eh? He was just enlightened. He wasn't, as Christians would call, the Son of God, and we all know that. That was Jesus' job. But enlightenment through that process is just a beautiful way of life. If everybody alive read what Buddhism is, I think everybody would become Buddhist. It's just a beautiful way of life. So I like the Buddhic principles. I like the satsangi processes. I understand the Christian values. I grew up with them, and I kind of live my life Christianly, actually. So it's a combination of all of them. It's quite a tricky one to answer, you know. Like the Hindi faith. I understand it because I can put you in that chair right now and I can make you remember being in your mommy's womb, and I can take you to where your soul was before. I know how to do that. So I love saying to people, whether you believe in past lives or not, for me it's irrelevant. When I take you back there and you see it for yourself, you can tell me what you think. I love to prove things to people. So when you start looking at the Hindi stuff, there's some of it that's really beautiful, you know. There's some really, like the mantric processes, the meditations, the way they honor their dead, the way they kind of prioritize their family psychology. But, you know, I still, in my mind, there's one big energy, there's one big process, and we're all going on the same journey. And I've got a firm belief in this. I mean, I have religious conversations every day. And I've had some really tough ones. And people try and throw it on me. But I'm very comfortable with my belief. Very. And people don't get that. So I've had some amazing experiences that I know, you know, that I have had myself, that I've seen. And it's difficult to try and explain that to people. Yeah. So, you know, like if I have it's happened to me, I've had many conversations with pastors and you know, like for instance, somebody will come and have a conversation with me and they've lost somebody and then they have a beautiful experience and they'll go and talk to their church about it, and the church will say, listen, you have to forget about your husband, let's say. You've got to move on and you're holding him back. I know why they say that, because they're trying to help the person, but it's wrong. It doesn't work like that. But I think when religion was created, it was created to help people, and it did that. The world was in a very bad place, you know. So yeah, it's an interesting chat that I can have for a long time.
Do you think Buddha was someone that, you know, kind of like you, was born with these gifts, and how did he, you know, reach this level of enlightenment that, you know, people obviously haven't done it since then? Because I mean, no one's as, you know, famous because of enlightenment that he is.
So there actually are some, by the way,
okay,
cruising around there that not many people know about. I've been lucky to meet a few of them. So Buddha is an interesting one. If you take, just out of interest's sake though, if you take Jesus' work, which is different though, and you take Buddha and you take Sarasvati and Osho Rajneesh and all these guys, their message is all the same. But Buddha was born into incredible wealth. His father was royalty, and he had his own palace. And he was not allowed to see what poverty was. It was not allowed there. He was not allowed to see what sickness was. And he had all these people looking after him and feeding him, and he had this amazing life, as everyone would think. And one day, a poor person walked in there, into the palace with rags, and he said to his helpers, he said, "What's that?" "Oh, you weren't supposed to see that, sorry, but that's what poor is." He said, "What's poor?" Like he didn't understand it. And like it affected his heart, because he didn't understand that there were poor people out there. And the same thing happened with sickness. This person came in that was sick, and he said, "Now what's this now?" He said, "That's what sickness is." He said, "What is sickness? I don't understand. Are there people like this out there?" And his heart couldn't handle it, and he just got out and walked. And that's how he became enlightened, and he started experiencing the world. And there's some amazing miracles and things that have happened. The guy was so in-tuned into the world, he became enlightened. That's his story, you know. It's also like if you read and you learn about the Dalai Lama, and you know, there's different strands, but it's all about living your life better. That's all these guys want. And, you know, like the Dalai Lama openly says, like, he believes in God, you know. So did Buddha. They say this, but I don't know. People are just afraid to experience that. But enlightenment, we're all capable of it. We can all do it. And it is about investigating yourself. I've had moments of enlightenment, So when I was a little guy, I'd like to actually give you this message. Because this little 6-year-old wanted to go live in India to find enlightenment. My mom was freaked out. I just wanted to go. And my guide, I'm pretty sure she's angelic, because I feel this incredible love. And she said to me, "Jay, if you're always happy in life, if you're always happy with what you get, like, I'm really enjoying this water, thank you.
Of course.
Good water. If you're always happy in life with what you get, as opposed to what you want, you're always going to be happy. You always end up getting what you want. That's enlightenment." A lot of people don't get that, but it's kind of like what Buddha was trying to teach is just enjoy the best out of everything. Sure, negative things are going to come, but like, be the best version of you. Be good to other people, you know, live your life that way, and be happy with where you're at.
Sun's spinning, kinda scared of living when it unfolds.